Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is about how narcissism, sociopathy, and psychopathy have ruined the 4th of July, it's ruined the American spirit, it's ruined the whole planet. And with no way back. I'm sure you've noticed that the sound is a little bit off. There's not much I can do about that. It's not a simple matter of tapping the mic or doing a mic check. They're using technology to interfere because they know that I'm right beyond a reasonable doubt. Now ask yourself, why would they be so insistent? Why are they so concerned with trying to get me to play stupid about things and to pretend that they're what they're not, which is superior? Why do they care? There's 8 billion people on the planet. They know I'm not going to have any children. Okay, it's not moral for having any children for so many reasons. Why are they so concerned with that? Well, it has to do with the fact that some of them are full-fledged psychopaths. We've seen the studies from psychologists that say that 1 in 5 CEOs are psychopaths. There's also sociopaths and narcissists and people who are delusional in general and people who are immoral and liars and on and on and on. But 1 in 5 CEOs are said to be full-fledged psychopaths. Okay, so it's important to note that not all psychologists and psychiatrists agree on what psychopaths are and what sociopaths are. The terms are somewhat vague. But the main thing that differentiates a psychopath and a sociopath is a psychopath has a profound lack of empathy. Where a sociopath is more like your average con man, and you analyze it. Why is this person conning people and cheating them out of everything? Right? Sociopaths often work for psychopaths and corporations, and they cheat people and they cause so much harm, but they're not really thinking about it as much as a psychopath. A psychopath might very well be smarter than a sociopath, and they ignore the pain that they're causing. So they tend to be the main supervillains, so to speak. So psychopaths have a profound lack of empathy, a lack of remorse, where the sociopath might feel some remorse at some point. They might feel some empathy. Now, psychopaths often are part of a person's alter ego or split personality. They get part of them that seem loving and they seem like they're concerned. But that's not true concern because their alter ego is actually who they are. For example, with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, who Dr. Jekyll is actually Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll is like a front. Also, it's important to note that it's almost unheard of, if not unheard of, for a psychologist in this day and age to not be a psychopath or a sociopath or a narcissist. Because as they're analyzing people, they see that reinforcing the construct is causing a lot of harm. So as you look at psychologists, you often see the guilt in them, or you'll see this sort of neutral way about them, right? This kind of, maybe not neutral, but this sort of blank way about them, this darkness about them, this sort of dark look an occultist has or something, that sort of occultist stare. That's, because they have sociopathic characteristics. They're manipulating people for the psychopathic government, for the psychopaths and narcissists and sociopaths who are in the governing class. Okay. So the psychopath has that profound lack of empathy, a lack of remorse. They're impulsive quite often, and they participate in antisocial behavior. And they display antisocial behavior. I think that upwards of 90% of psychopaths are punks, right? They're nerds, they're weirdos. There's some skinny English person, who has delusions of grandeur, who takes it far enough that they're a psychopath. They're not necessarily tough guys. They're not the toughest guy in any given prison or something. Usually they are sissies. They're corporate sissies. They're cowards. If they were to get locked up, they would be very, very scared. Not just because of the new guy, but because compared to guys who are tougher than average, they're just a punk. Okay, so I'm going to have to wrap this up because the sissies in the governing class have made it so I keep getting interrupted in multiple locations. So the puppet in Saw is a good point of reference. The movie Saw is a good point of reference for a psychopath. Most of them are nerds. They're like Jewish psychopaths in Israel, or white psychopaths, in the Klan, or these guys were generally, they were cowards. They're weaklings. Some might have some weight on them, but there's some fat idiot with with their titties flapping in the wind or something, easy to outmaneuver and kill. And they were very scared of people who, were very athletic and deadly African martial artists. And that's part of American history. Like it's like a dragon. A dragon's like a big worm. It's like a boa constrictor versus a leopard that has got his thoughts together. And a boa constrictor doesn't have a chance, right? It's just gonna rip his throat right out, and that's it. So, sink his fangs into him, what have you. So when we look at this situation, it is a mistake to be impressed by psychopaths, to cater to them. That's very dumb. And the American spirit is like first and foremost the result of people catering to people like the Klan. The word plan rhymes with the word clan. That's part of the occult game. The same plan of the Klan is the plan of America and the world at this point, of the governing class of the world. It is white, Jewish, and LGBT supremacy with an emphasis on white culture. Is Bibi Netanyahu a rabbi? No. Was Bernanke? No. Is Elon Musk is part Jewish? No. Is Zuckerberg or Larry and Sergey? No. Larry Ellison? No. It's that simple.